Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I'm making Melba Toast today, so I'm going to show you how to make it. You need 1.5 cups of warm milk. I am not using that. I'm going to use 1 cup of warm milk and 1/2 cup of my discard. So that's how I'm going to do it. So warm it up to where you take the chill off. That's all you're going to do is take the chill off of the milk. So that should be 98.6, which is just in the range that a culture can survive. You're going to need 2 packages of yeast. If I remember correctly. Yeah, I remembered. Now you're going to let this sit just a little bit. I really don't want to. To get this yeast active, now this is what I've just done when I told you this is a cup of milk, but you're going to have 1.5 cups of milk unless you have a culture and you want to do it my way. I want a slight sourness to my Melba Toast, so I'm going to use 1/2 cup of my culture. My discard culture. But for those of you who do not have it, you can sit there. And like I said, it's just 1.5 cups of milk. Let me see if that's a 1/2 cup. Yeah. Why I'm making Melba Toast is because I have ham and kielbasa and some garlic, so I want to make deviled ham, and I want to make a sardine spread, and I don't want to use crackers or other stuff, so I'm going to make this instead. I'll freeze 1 loaf, and the other loaf I'll make into Melba Toast, and then I can sit there and use the other one when I'm ready to make the other one. This is my way of using my culture at the same time. You're also going to need 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now yeast is like every person out there. They love sugar. If nothing else, you could say God really made sure everybody has a sweet tooth. Even plants love sugar. You're going to need a teaspoon of salt. See, I know my yeast is good, so I don't have to worry about this. What else am I adding? 2 eggs. They want large eggs, so if you have medium, you're going to have a problem with the ratio. Because they've always said anything that you bake, they always use the measurement of large. Did I add everything except for the butter? Okay, we'll get the butter going. They want butter softened, but you know I keep mine in the freezer. I'm always telling you mine's in the freezer, so I'm going to have to grate mine to bring it down so it can get warm in a hurry. When you buy that much butter, you just want to keep it in the freezer. When I person asked me, do you always cook like this? Yes, I do. As much as I can. Young people can say they're healthy, and you can scream that you're healthy. But when you get old, 70-something, take a look at yourself, and then you'll know what you've done to your body. You'll see it on your parents and everything else. I saw it in my mother. I didn't want to go that route. All right, we added the yeast, the sugar, the milk, the butter, the salt, the eggs. You know what's left. Now you know I'm going to add this. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of wheat germ. I want to keep it nutritious. I also have those cultures in there. So I want to make sure I'm getting the best out of the food. A lot of you probably say, food I eat is good. You're not going to know it until you get old. If you start getting sick in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, then you know you're not as healthy as you were. You didn't eat that well because your body is starting to show the signs. This is where your body gets back at you. Like my grandmother said, your body will get back to you and remind you of everything that you've done because you're going to pay for it. And that's how you pay for it, with illness and sickness. I have to get some flour in my container. So if you're sick in old age, you can sit there and realize you did not eat as healthy as you thought you thought. Like I said, my doctor gets angry with me because I won't let him do a whole bunch of garbage on me and shove me full of medicine. I'll take care of it. If I can't have coffee, that's fine. I'm not going to miss it. We're going to add a cup of flour into this, and we're going to beat this. But I won't be upset about it. If I don't have tea, that's all right. Sodas, I make my own drinks, so I don't have to worry about that. Because imagine if we sat there and ate this way and we were pioneers and frontiersmen and the food was full of chemicals and stuff. Do you really think we would have been able to do half the stuff that they did? You know it and I know it. There's no dang way. Now, if I live to 120 like we're supposed to, though I doubt it, I have 48 years left. That's why I dance around. I don't mind getting old. I'm very comfortable with getting old. But I don't want to greet my day with medication and end my day with medication and be sick all the time and not feel myself. If the body goes before then, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if dyes in Kennedy is talking about the red dye, what are the preservatives doing to our body? You think about that. If that causes a problem, What about the other dyes? What about the chemicals they put into the ground? What about the chemicals they're putting in the food, the preservatives? I mean, Botox is embalming fluid. And what is embalming fluid? That's what they do to the dead bodies to make it presentable so you can see your loved one before they put them in the casket. And it lasts a long time before it gets out of the body. The bodies used to break down much faster in death. With the embalming fluid and dressing them up and putting makeup on and making them look presentable. That's why I bring this information to you. And now people are talking about, do you know what's in makeup? Yeah, I know what's in makeup. They said, do you know what these chemicals do? Yeah, I've been talking about it. Okay, we're going to put a cup onto the counter. We're getting ready to take it out of the bowl and knead it. Like I was thinking about how the government has destroyed the family. A lot of you wouldn't believe that. I think about it. And the problem is young people can't say zip to me because you don't have time in. That's what the elderly said. You'll understand when you get older, Sandy. I do now. Get some hot water into your bowl, and we're going to start kneading this now. Probably not, it's become so expensive it's difficult for me to get it in and add it to things right now. And I use a lot, but we still get powdered milk into the system with regular milk. But it's hard. And you will add no more than 4.5 to 5 cups of flour for this recipe. Do not go above those numbers. Okay, I don't need these right now. Sugar, a lot of sugar is a problem, but sodas are the biggest problems. Like somebody says, they're talking about when you eat at night and you go to bed, it's hurting your outer skin. And some people say, oh, to clear this problem up, you just take this one vitamin or nutrient, but they set the stuff into it. I'm going to tell you, that's not going to work. What's going to work is you have to get in that kitchen and you're going to have to start doing what you have to do. There's no quick fix to anything. You never will. You either get in there, get back to where you belong. I know a lot of women don't like me saying that. But when I grew up, and remember I'm talking about time, every child went to school. Mama was home, Daddy went to work, and they lived on a budget. And we knew when we went to school, we were left there, that our teacher was our mother, and that principal was our father. And our parents had the right to, gave them the permission to punish us, and we got punished. We didn't play hooky. Everybody would know. the town would know and report. I tell you, you can't hide in a small town. But anyway, our mothers were there when we came home. Our fathers were in by a certain time. We had to answer when we came in. We sat there, we had to do our homework. We had chores that we had to do when we got up in the morning, get ourselves together. We learned to care, take responsibility. We were never left alone to get in trouble. Now, because I was in a small town, boys and girls went to school together. But I had heard up in the city, in the metropolitan area, you had boys' schools and girls' schools. This way, females learned how to be young ladies and everything else. And then, all during that time, all of a sudden, Jane Fonda walked her little butt. She stood for the Vietnamese, which caused a lot of soldiers to get hurt and tortured. Up to that point, they didn't. And then she came out with burning bras, getting out of the home. And now, as much as you don't want to face up to it, we have to face up to it. Women, when we left the home, we started destroying the family. Now we're telling men they have to be feminine. We sit there and we leave our children with other people to raise, or we just put them in school and tell them, take your responsibility, do your work, come home. They're called latchkey kids or latchkey children. All of this happened because a woman left. American teachers taught American ways in school. Pledge of Allegiance and our prayers were said at the beginning of the school, looking for guidance and everything else. Now we have, and I remember when these professors and stuff came in to our schools and they started teaching, but they can't teach a constitutional republic. They can't teach the freedoms that we have because they don't come from that kind of country. So now we have young people sitting there going and standing for other countries. And because BCW, better known as the Board of Child Welfare, tells parents you can't punish our children. Listen, I got my butt whipped more times than you want. I've had welts and I've been black and blue back there. And I turned out to be a pretty good person. I don't have a criminal record. I didn't get pregnant out of wedlock or anything else. This is why mothers had to be home. They had to be on top of their children. And my mother was, believe you me, like I said, she'd punch a cop if you said something to her wrong. My mother was that kind of woman. She was a tyrant. She hit my father too when I saw that. But the thing is that women left the home. They left the school for a career. And they have left everything to flounder. Now, I'll go back to the Bible. Who's the one who ate the apple, so-called apple? We're just going to use it as a metaphor because some people say it wasn't an apple, it was this or that. But who is the one who started the fall of everything? A female. And look what she's doing to society today. It answers a lot of questions, doesn't it? Stuff that people don't want to hear. But you have to face up to it. Children don't know what sex they are. They answer a question. I remember when we were told, if you sat there and said, what is a cat? If you came back and said a cat is an animal, all what you did, they teach you in school to turn the words around as an answer instead of thinking independently, what is a cat? It's a feline. It belongs to the feline. Oh God, I just lost the word. Well, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And my parents saw that. Reporters sat there at one time. You going to bed? Feline family, my son just told me. He's standing over there listening to me. Okay, good night. So, I listen to these young people in college, and that's what the school's teaching them, to turn the words around and give them back the answer and say, that's the answer. That's not the answer. We had to know what we were talking about. So, thank you. Just put it there. It's fine. So that is where school started going downhill. That's when the family structure started happening. And nobody can argue with me unless you're over 80 years old. You can't say one word that I'm wrong about this, because I've seen it with my own eyes. And for you women who don't know, young women who don't know, before, if you look this up, the suffragette movement gave you, because women at that time were property, they couldn't own anything or anything. The suffragette movement, the suffrage movement came in to play. It gave us the right to go to school. It gave us the right to vote. It also gave us the right that we were not property. It also gave us the right to decide if we were going to marry or not. It gave us the right to have a business. All the rights that you're screaming about and have been screaming about was already there. They just don't teach you that. Now, why don't you teach you about the suffrage movement? And you would find out everything that happened in the 60s was stupid. Because in my time, we had teachers. We had women that were working. They didn't marry, but it was their choice. But we had the right to vote. There isn't one thing that the 60s movement or the movement of today has given me. All my rights came at that time. I had a right. My husband died to his property because of suffrage. I also have rights to have my own money, and that would be because I didn't want to marry or something. But if you wanted to marry, the man would go to work. Now, because women are in the workforce, they're putting men out of work. Some men are sitting home, young ones, and everything else. The same thing. With my first little tantrum I had, I got whipped for it. My sons, when they had their first tantrum, I said, you want something to cry? You want a reason to cry? Go get a switch. And they'd go get a switch, and I'd switch them with it. I'd whip them with it. I said, now you can have your tantrum, and now you can cry. They learned that you don't get everything that you want. Your parents aren't going to do the, I went through it. I had to learn, no, my parents are not my slave. I was taught that you will eat what's on the dinner table or go hungry. But a lot of you complain about everything. I do agree with you. The school lunches were horrible. I hated school lunches. I wouldn't eat lunch. I would literally just have breakfast and dinner, and that was it. I would just bypass the school lunch. It was just too bad. The most unflavorful food I'd ever had. And so a lot of this, people don't understand. The destruction of the body will start showing on you. If you've done a lot of things that you shouldn't have, well, you'll pay for it. It'll creep up on you. The worse your body is, the earlier it is, the worse you are. Your body is not healthy. I know the older people or women who are working say, I don't want to hear this crap. I can understand it. You don't want to hear it because it's a fact that you have to face up to. We've done this. The females have done this. Those that go marching out there and doing all of this and then trying to beat men down, that the masculinity, no, that masculinity protects us. That masculinity is the strength of our country, and they'll stay strong if you feed them right. But like I go back to it, they think red dye causes cancer. What do you think the preservatives are doing? What do you think the crap and the synthetic flavorings and all they're doing? It's doing a lot to your body. By the way, we're having blueberry pancakes today with blueberry syrup. My son requested it. Please, Mommy, can we have that? I said, okay. Well, I still got all this flour to work in. So, that's some history about women and what we have done. So this society we have isn't man's doing, it's our doing. The women who left the home, left their children, And I've got records of a woman who divorced, and she was from another town. They put her in our neighborhood. Next thing we knew, the fathers were having trouble with their male children because they were saying, you don't have to answer to anybody. We can do what we want. And our children, and I was one of them, listened to them. I got my tail whipped. I snapped in play. So, that's how I grew up. And I did go to church. I have my faith and all of that tacked in, giving you an idea of why I am the way I am. You might not like it. You might disagree with it. But the Bible states this point blank. Not to go after, basically it tells you not to go after your neighbor, his family, and his stuff. You leave it alone. That's their problem. Well, I now notice that we've got our nose punched in every country. If we stayed on our borders and every country obeyed this rule, stay within your borders and don't take other countries, it applies right there. It's just like if something happens, all the neighbors get involved and everything else. You're not supposed to get involved. They have to work their problems out. It's not your problem, it's their problem. If they want help, they'll go and get help. You see? So that's even set up for us as a country. We wouldn't have wars if we minded our own business. And rulers or presidents or leaders of countries stayed within their boundaries and allowed other countries to do what they want. It would be better. But there's always some idiot out there who's a leader who will start a war or everything else. But the thing is that they should stay within their own borders, just like neighbors should mind their own business. So those basic rules that we were given in the 10 Commandments really do speak of that. Exactly how you could run a country very well, live as a people, live in a neighborhood without problems or anything else. But no, everybody's got to mind everyone's business, being a busybody. I don't have many friends, so I pretty much stay to myself. If somebody needs help, I definitely, will help them as best I can. I mean, I'm not good at everything, but if I can help them in one way or another, I do. But this was my upbringing, and this is how I think. So when you think about that, those 10 Commandments are very, very important. It states exactly that we shouldn't go around gossiping, which causes people problems. We shouldn't go around, being a busybody. We should take care of our own. And when I mean take care of our own, your family, you take care of your own. There was a time men had clubs where they could go to wind down from work before they went home, because they knew they were going to have to deal with the children and the family and all, and they just wanted to be able to come home in a nice state of mind, so they could be more relaxed, have time to read the paper, get their life together, and then come home. They don't have that privilege anymore, to get away from women so they could just sit there and be men. No, women barged in. I remember when they did it, because they still had men's clubs. No, women had to go in there and say, I can do what I want, I can do this, I can do that. You can't. I mean, that's like me going into a bar by myself. I'm cruising for trouble. You don't go in there. I wouldn't. One time, I was told to find, I'm not going to say his name, the godfather of the children, so I went to his home. Tony said, I'll meet you at his house. And I went there, and he wasn't there, but they said he was at the bar. So I went and stood in front of the door of the bar, waiting for him to come out. I was out there 15, 20 minutes just waiting because I figured I saw him in there, but I couldn't go into the bar because I know I'm not being escorted. And I sat there. I stood there. And somebody finally brought it to his attention. Somebody's out there. So the bartender came to me and said, "Do you have a problem?" I said, "No, I'm waiting for so-and-so." And he said, "Well, come on in." I said, "I can't come in. I must be escorted in." As ladies do not go into bars like that. I know you young people say, "Oh, that is so corny." Well, if you go into a bar by yourself and you get raped, that's your problem, not mine. So he brought me in and he took me to the person I was waiting for, and he gave me, and because I don't drink, he gave me 7-Up. And the men were happy that I respected their space. And that's what it is, respecting their space. And I gave the message to the person that I was waiting for to come out, because that's where I was supposed to meet Tony, at his home. And he said, "Okay." So I was treated because I treated them with respect. If you want respect, you have to give it back. So see, women had a lot of respect. Women don't now. You say, "It's my body, I can do what I want." You consider life so cheap. You'll destroy this earth. I can't add any more flour. I've got all the flour I can add in here. See, sometimes the weather will dictate how much you have, but I hope that gives you insight to the type of person I am. If you don't like it, I can't help that. I wouldn't want to change. I'm very comfortable with who I am. I've got a good body. It's getting old, but still a very good body. It works for me. I try not to mind people's business. Unless they're hurting, then I will ask them if they're all right, but I won't, go any further than that. If they wish to tell me, I give them a kind ear. But that's the structure of this female standing in front of you, kneading this bread, getting it ready. Okay. You see how smooth that is? That's what you want. Okay, let me get this lid on. We'll get this bowl going. I'll be right back. I'm going to be right here next to you, but I have to wash this bowl out. Bet you my olive oil's frozen. It sure is. Let's get a match and get it liquid some so I can grease. Well, I called sanitation, but how they want me to sit there and sort my trash. And then I get something on the computer that says different than what she says. Dang, I can't win for losing. I know what organic waste is. Those are matches, bones, peelings and stuff like that, leftover food and all. But now they're saying you can put soiled paper plates in it, soiled, but she told me no, you can't. And yet what I saw yesterday that came through the news, what is it, Newsweek or Newsflash or something, it said, oh yeah, it's all gonna go there. They said leaves, I cannot put them in a bag. I have little twigs this big. She says I've got to tie them up. I said, right, I'm gonna tie these bloody suckers up. They're gonna spill all over the place. No piece of wood can be longer than 4 feet. Oh, that's great. I've got like a 7-8 foot piece of branch that came down and it's thick. I tell you, things I have to go through. I'm just gonna compost the way I was taught, you know. I'll take my peelings and stuff and I'll bury it out in the yard. Save that. Tie stuff up, and then I'll have little pieces all over the place, and then I get fined because it's out in the street, and then I have to sweep the street. Yeah, now they have me sweeping the street too. They used to have sweepers. When I first came up here into the city, I was sweeping in front of the house, and people would throw trash all over into the gutter and everything. And people said, you don't do that. That's sanitation's job. Now I'm told, oh yeah, you have to do it. What took the city so long to know some common sense? They have so many laws, it's ridiculous. You can't do this, you can't do that. You know, do they know that we live in America? I'm greasing my grill right now. Put it top side down, twist it because you want to coat it so it doesn't dry out. Flip it over and it's nice and greased, and I'll show you. See? Now I'm going to put towels on this and I'm going to let this sucker rise. That's got to sit there. I don't know how long it's going to take because we went back to chilly again. It was hot just the other day. It's chilly today. Tomorrow it's going down, up, down, up, down. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to wait till it doubles and there'll be a part 2 on this and we'll get this going. So I'll see you then.